You're standing at the grocery store checkout. The bill comes out to $147.83. You swipe your card, walk out, and then it hits you. You forgot to scan the store's loyalty program. You missed out on saving $2.14. For the next 20 minutes, driving home, unloading bags, putting groceries away, that $2.14 keeps replaying in your head. You feel annoyed, like you messed up, like you failed somehow. Meanwhile, sitting in your driveway is a car with a $680 monthly payment that you can't really afford. It's parked in front of a house that stretches your budget so thin that one unexpected expense would send you into panic. But none of that is what you're thinking about. You're upset about $2. That's cheap thinking in real time, and it's quietly bankrupting you in ways you don't even notice. My name is Prime Gorilla, and what I'm about to show you isn't another lecture about cutting expenses or skipping overpriced coffee. This is about a psychological trap that keeps people broke while convincing them they're being responsible. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Being cheap is an emotional response driven by fear. Being wealthy is a calculated evaluation of value. Until you understand the difference and switch how you think, you'll stay stuck no matter how tightly you pinch pennies. Let me give you the cleanest example of cheap thinking destroying wealth. You're driving through town and pass two gas stations. One is selling regular unleaded for $3.89 a gallon. The other, 15 minutes away, is advertising $3.79. You decide to make the drive to save 10 cents per gallon. It feels smart, responsible, like you're winning with money. Now let's actually do the math. Your car has a 15-gallon tank. Saving 10 cents per gallon means you saved $1.50. Congratulations! Except you didn't. That 15-minute drive each way is a 30-minute round trip. Your car gets about 25 miles per gallon in the city. You burned roughly 1 gallon of gas making that trip, which at $3.79 cost you $3.79. You spent $3.79 and half an hour of your life to save $1.50. You paid $2.29 just to feel like you saved money. And it gets worse when you factor in time. Let's say you earn $25 an hour. That half hour you wasted chasing cheaper gas cost you $12.50 in lost time. So the real cost of your smart decision was $14.79 in fuel and time. You turned $1.50 savings into a $14.79 expense and felt proud the entire drive. That's why being cheap isn't a math problem, it's a psychology problem. Cheap thinkers ask only one question: how much does this cost right now? Every dollar leaving their hand feels like a loss, like failure. Wealthy thinkers ask a different question: what's the return on this? They don't see money as something to protect, they see it as a tool meant to produce results. Take networking events. A $50 ticket looks like wasted money, mediocre snacks, and awkward conversations. Pointless. A wealthy mindset looks at the same $50 and calculates potential upside. One connection could lead to a job opening, a client, or advice that changes an entire career. That $50 could return $50,000. The value isn't the food, it's the access. This shift becomes possible only when you have security. When you build an emergency fund, even just 3 months of expenses, your brain stops operating from fear. You stop seeing every purchase as a financial death sentence. That mental safety net allows you to move from cheap behavior to strategic thinking. Now let's talk about the obsession that dominates personal finance advice: coffee. You've heard it 1,000 times. Skip the daily latte, make coffee at home, and you'll retire rich. If you're spending $5 a day, that's $1,825 a year. Sure, brewing at home saves money, but let's be honest, $1,825 a year isn't making anyone wealthy. Meanwhile, the same person stressing over a $5 coffee is ignoring the $47,000 SUV in their driveway with a $680 monthly payment. They debate cereal brands to save 80 cents, then go home to a house that costs $400 more per month than it should. That's the cheap trap, obsessing over small costs while massive leaks drain your finances. You're bailing water with a teaspoon when there's a hole in the boat. And there's another hidden cost: decision fatigue. Every time you calculate unit prices, drive across town for marginal savings, or debate generic versus brand name trash bags, you burn mental energy. Your brain has limited bandwidth. When you waste it on saving 30 cents, you have nothing left for decisions that actually matter: negotiating salary, starting a side business, or learning a skill that could double your income. Here's a rule that changes everything. If a purchase is under $20 and you have savings, buy what you want and move on. Save your mental energy for the $20,000 decisions. That's where wealth is built or destroyed: the car, the house, the career moves, the investments. Cheap thinking feels smart because of scarcity mindset, the belief that there will never be enough money, time, or opportunity. Every dollar spent feels like a permanent loss. This mindset often comes from past experiences, growing up around financial stress, or entering adulthood during a recession. That mindset may have protected you once, but now it keeps you stuck. You refuse to spend $1,000 on a certification that could raise your income by $15,000 a year, while someone else sees that $1,000 as seed money. Calculated risk beats guaranteed stagnation every time. Language reveals mindset. Cheap people say, "I can't afford that." Wealthy people say, "I'm choosing not to spend on that right now." Same decision, completely different psychology. Words shape identity, and identity shapes behavior. The most expensive form of being cheap is refusing to invest in yourself. Someone avoids a $500 course and stays stuck earning $45,000 a year. Someone else takes the course and starts freelancing at $80 an hour, earning $30,000 more within a year. 5 years later, the gap is massive. The cheap person saved $500. The strategic person built a life. The same logic applies to health. Skip a $150 dental cleaning, ignore a cavity, and 2 years later it's a $1,500 root canal. Delay again and it becomes a $4,000 implant. Cheap decisions extract physical, emotional, and financial costs. Wealthy thinking asks a different question: what's the cost of not doing this? That's where return on investment comes in. Every purchase is a trade: money for time, money for capability, money for peace of mind. A $1,200 laptop that saves hours, prevents frustration, and opens opportunities is often cheaper than a $300 machine replaced repeatedly over 5 years for a total of $1,000. Strategic spending isn't reckless spending. You still budget, you still live below your means, but within that structure, you decide based on value, not price, because you cannot shrink your way to wealth. Expenses have a floor. Income has no ceiling. Ask 3 questions before any purchase. Will this save me time? Will it increase my earning capacity? Or will it prevent a larger expense later? If yes, and you have the money, it's not an expense, it's an investment. Finally, understand the social cost of being cheap. Relationships have economic value. Under-tipping, splitting bills to the penny, showing up empty-handed, these behaviors build a reputation that quietly closes doors. Saving $20 could cost you $100,000 referral you'll never know you missed. Generosity is leverage. It creates goodwill, opportunity, and access. Being cheap isn't just behavior, it's identity. Change the language and you change the story your brain tells itself. Audit your spending for the last 3 months. Find where cheap decisions are costing you long-term. Stop overthinking purchases under $20 and redirect that energy towards making an extra $1,000 this month. You cannot shrink your way to wealth. You grow your way there. Stop obsessing over the $5 leaving your pocket and start focusing on the thousands that could be entering it. That's the difference between cheap and wealthy: defense with pennies versus offense with strategy.